Is my voice audible? Is my voice audible? Yes or no? Okay. So last class we spoke about the event-driven functions or event handling functions with the help of keyboard and mouse. So there we studied about this glut mouse function and keyboard mouse. Glut key function, where we were using the keyboard and the mouse to interact with the graphical objects, like on pressing certain keys the application should be terminated. So that is the example which I give. So even that you can write it with the help of mouse also. If you're clicking some button on the mouse, on pressing that button, your application should get terminated. So like that, we studied two functions. One was the glut mouse function, and the other one was glut key function. So the parameters were different. So one like glut mouse function was taking four parameter, x and y the coordinate positions, and button and the state function, similarly the glut key function, it was taking three parameter, like one whatever key you are pressing, and other one is the coordinate positions, like this. So this is with respect to the with the help of mouse how you can control the graphical object, and with the help of keyboard how you are able to control the applications. So after this, we studied about this display function and idle callback function. So display function means it is used for displaying all the objects. So whatever object you are creating through some functions, if that object is to be divided, or sorry, if that object is to be displayed, so I have to pass that as a parameter to the glut display function. Like if I'm drawing a line object, if I want to draw that line object, means that name of that if that line object is to be displayed on the screen, means I should pass the name of the function which is drawing the line to this glut display function. And also if I increase the size or decrease the size, or after making some changes, again the size of that object would have got changed. So in that case, I can use this glut display function for changing, for again redisplay purpose. So similarly, now we'll talk about some window function. We'll talk about some window function. So what window functions are there, or why this window event will be generated? So this window event will be generated whenever you are changing the shape of the window. For example, you can maximize the window size, or you can minimize the window size. So this window event will occur when the window is maximized, or when the window is minimized by using the mouse button, or if you're drawing the mouse, or if you're dragging the window to a new position, if you're dragging the window to a new positions. So uh, in that cases, this window event will occur. So what information will the program give? So the information, like the height of the new window or the width of the new window, will be sent to the program. So the program will receive the new height and new width of the window. So in this, which what is the process that is being used, means we have one function called void. This is a window callback function. So this function is given by the name void my reshape function. So void my reshape function. So this is the function which we are using. So this is a function which the programmer will write for drawing some. So this is a function which the programmer is writing, so which is having some width and height. So so after this, what the programmer can do, the programmer can write a code. The programmer can write a code which will display uh, the size of window of width w and height h. So after this he can call, after this the callback function, after writing the function. So this function, I'm calling it by the name uh, my reshape function. No, so this function I can pass it as a parameter. So this function I can pass it as a parameter for the inbuilt function which is given by glut reshape function. So for this glut reshape function, I'll pass the name of this function. The name of this function is my shape. It is like similar to the display. So display means we will inside the display function, like inside we'll create a function by the name display, and we'll write the logic for displaying the lines, points, or squares, something. So here also, this my shape, it will set the width and height of a window, and that will be passed as a parameter to the glut reshape function. So this is how um, you can manage the new size of the window or window events in this CG. So, and in addition to this, uh, window management means how the multiple windows can be created, or how multiple windows can be managed. See, all this OpenGL functions we have studied in module 2. We have studied this in module 2. So we have some glut create window. So if you want to create one more window, means you can use this function glut create window. So this the glut supports both multiple windows and sub windows for a given window. So when I'm calling this glut create window, so it will assign some ID. It will assign some ID to that window. So this ID is nothing but the integer value which can be used to make that window as the current window. So by using this ID, we can we can make the window which has been generated as the current window. So this OpenGL glut supports multiple windows and sub windows to be created. So you can create as many windows as possible by using this glut create window. So this glut create window function, it will give you an value. It will return some value, that is the ID integer. So you can use that ID to make that window with that ID as the current window. So how means by using this function, by using glut set window, by using the glut set window, and by passing this value, this ID as the parameter, you can you can make that window with that ID as the current window. So um, you can also, and also one more thing is like, you can set different properties. You can set different properties by using the glut init display mode function. We can also set the different properties by calling the glut init display mode function before this before calling this glut create window. So this is with respect to the windows management. So how do you manage windows, and what kind of functions are there? We have glut create window and glut set window. And the next one is menus. So menus means it is used to select choices, like so menus in the sense, um, see what they are used for selecting. They are used for selecting some features using which the interactive applications can be created. So how like usually OpenGL provides pop-up menus. So these are the important features for, see, this menu is an important feature for the application program. So here this OpenGL is providing with the pop-up menus. So using this pop-up menus, we can create the interactive applications. Using this pop-up menus, we can create interactive applications. So what steps are to be followed? So how do we create this uh, menus? Means the first step will be to define the action. So first define actions which corresponds to each entry. If we have five menus means if we have five entries means um, define action for each of the entries. So first step is to define the actions which will correspond to the each entries in a menu. After that, link those menus. The first step is to define action. The second step is to link those menus to the mouse mouse button. So this is the second step. And after that, the third step will be to register callback. The third step will be to register callback. So the first step, so we have an feature called pop-up menus in OpenGL, using which the interactive applications can be created. So here, first step in creating the menu is to define the action. The first step is to define the actions that will correspond to each entries of this menu table, or each entry in the menu. The second step is to make the link of each of this menu to the link the menu to the mouse buttons, to the mouse button. Third step will be to register a callback function for each entry in the menu. Register a callback function for each entry in the menu. So for example, so one function which can be uh, used to create a menu can be like, we have one function called glut create menu. So you can use this glut create menu and the title, and you can use this glut create menu to create a menu. So after that you can add entry. So on using this function, it will create it will create a menu. So for this menu, you can add add the options or add the choices by using glut add menu entry, glut add menu entry. So it will be like the first entry will be, this will be the first entry name. The first entry will be, I will call it as A1. The second entry similarly, glut add menu entry. The second entry I'll call it as B. I'll give the number to it will be the second entry. So this is just the name. So here you can give it as addition. Here you can give it as subtraction, or here you can give it as zoom in, zoom out, quit, select, like that. So after that, the first step is to define the action. The second step is to um, link the menu to the corresponding mouse button, and the third step is to register the callback. No, so you can create a menu by using this glut create menu. You can add the entries by using you can add the entries for this menu by using glut add menu entry function, and uh, you can connect this menu to the mouse by using glut attach menu. So you can attach this menu to the mouse by using glut attach menu function and the button. So it can be glut underscore left underscore button, glut underscore middle underscore button, glut underscore right underscore button. So these functions you can use. So what this glut create menu? So the glut create menu, um, it will register the callback. So the glut register menu will register the callback. So first thing is it will register the callback. So here you can so the glut create menu will register the callback. So here you can pass the name of the function. So it's demo I will just call it as demo. So and you can add entries to the menu by using add menu entry function. So where here the first thing will be the name of the entry. So the name of it will add the name as the first parameter, and the second one will be the identifier. The second one will be the identifier. So like this. So this is the first thing. So and also one more thing. Since here I'm writing this demo function, no. So this demo function should be defined somewhere. Void demo, some ID like this, and here you can write the logic. Here you can write the logic for that demo also. So this demo function should be written somewhere. So before creating that, the demo function should be defined somewhere. So this is with respect to the menus. So we have three functions. One is the glut create menu, glut add menu entry, and glut attach menu. So using this you can perform the operations. You can perform the menu events or menu or creations in OpenGL. So the next thing is and we have one more thing called hierarchical menus. There we have one menu called hierarchical menu. So I'll just show that how the hierarchical menu looks. We have one hierarchical menu in OpenGL. Um, so um, so here we have one menu. Here we have one menu with entry 1, entry 2. So it can be like, uh, this can be like the close function. This can be like the close option. So this can be zoom option. So this can be zoom option. So this entry, I'll just rename that. We have some menu. We have some menu which is having two entries. The first entry is the closing the application. The second one is zooming of the object. So in turn, this zoom option. So this zoom option will have further submenu. So where you can increase the size, you can zoom in or you can zoom out. So this we will call it as hierarchical menu. This we will call it as hierarchical menu. Hierarchical, HICAL, hierarchical menu. So for this, um, how you can create uh, the program for writing this menu can be, just write the code for this. How you can write the code for this submenu. So we have we have see the OpenGL and a snippet, a code snippet for writing this. So we have we have two options, right? Um, so first thing is I'll write this one. So I'll write the code for this one. So glut create menu, glut create menu, and I will call it as submenu. I'll call it as submenu. And for this submenu, I will add entries. What are the entries? Glut add menu entry. Glut add menu entry. The first one is increase. So I'll just call it as increase, and I'll give some identifier. I'll give some identifier. And the second one is some menu entry, and I'll call it as decrease, and I'll give some identifier. So this is one way. So after I'll create the top menu. I'll create the top menu. So for that I will use glut create menu, and this is submenu. No, I'll give this as top underscore menu. I'll give it as top underscore menu. So top underscore menu, it is having two options. The first option is glut add menu entry. The first option is close option. The first option is close option. Close followed by some value, followed by some value. So I'll give that identifier. After that, after that, glut add menu entry. So here you see, here I will give the name. Here I will give the name. So this I'll give it as, here I'll give some ID. So here I'll call it as sub ID. I'll give some naming. So this is just a naming convention. So here I will pass that name. Here I'll pass that. Here first I'll give the name. The name which I'm giving is Zoom. Zoom is my name. And what is ID corresponding to that? The ID corresponding to that is SID. So like this, you can create hierarchical button. So what I did means, first I created the code for this. First I created the code for this. So here it is written. So this name is submenu. The name of this is submenu, sub underscore menu, and it is having two options: increase and decrease. Increase, decrease. So after that, I created the top menu. So the name of this is top menu, top menu. So glut create menu, top menu. So for this, I added two entries. One is the zoom, and sorry, one is zoom and one is close. The first one is close. ID is one. The second one is zoom. For zoom, the zoom should point to submenu. So for that, I'm getting the ID of this submenu, and I'm passing that ID here. So in this way, you can create the hierarchical menus. So this is how you can create hierarchical menus in um, computer graphics application. Um, so this is how you can write a code for that. So after this, we have this picking. What do you mean by picking? Means uh, it is an input operation. It's a logical input operation which allows the user to identify an object on the display. So picking can be done by the pointing devices. The information will be returned to the application program which is not in a position. So um, so what is this meaning means? Picking means it's an input operation which will allow the user to identify the objects that are there on the display devices. Here, um, even if you are doing the picking option by using the mouse, the information uh, the information that will go to the application program is the ID of the object. It will give you the ID of the object, not the position. So picking also, um, here you'll get the idea of the object which you are identifying, and you won't get the position information. You won't get the position information. So why? Because why this is difficult? Why this is difficult? Why this picking is difficult to implement in modern system means because of the graphic architecture. Because of this graphical architecture, so even in the modern system, the picking is very difficult to implement. One thing which is followed is by converting the locations on the display. Um, why? Because like conversion from the location which is there on the display to the corresponding point, it is not a direct calculation. So because of that, it is very difficult to implement. So that's why an alternative way is to selection and bounding rectangles or extend. So since all this process is very difficult in terms of picking, so we have an alternative method. So what is that alternative method is, the first one is selection. So selection means it will just adjust the clipping region and the viewport region such that you can keep track of which primitive is there in the small clipping region, and can be rendered into a region which are near the cursor. So selection means here you are going to adjust the clipping region, viewport position, so that you can keep track of the primitives that are lying inside the clipping region, and this can be rendered into the regions that are there inside the or near the cursor. So then this primitive, then whatever you have tracked on or whatever you have selected, these primitives will be sent to the hit list. That is what we'll call it as a create a hit list, and this hit list will be sent to the user. Then this hit list will be sent to the user, which will be examined by him. So selection means first you will adjust the clipping region and the viewport so that you can keep track of the primitives that are there in the small region, and it will be sent, or it will be rendered into the region which are near the cursor. After that, this primitives will be sent into the hit list so that it can be examined by the user program. So this is one method. So this you'll create a hit list and you'll send it to the user, that will be analyzed by the user later. And the second one is bounding rectangles or extents. So in this approach, um, uh, the smallest rectangle which are aligned with the coordinate axis will contain the object. So here, if it is a 2D object means it will be easy to determine the rectangle in the screen coordinate system, which corresponds to the rectangular point in the object coordinates. But if it is 3D, for 3D means the bounding box will be a right parallelepiped, where the application program will maintain a data structure to relate the boxes and the objects. So like this, you can overcome the difficulty of this picking by using the selection and the bounding rectangles. And see, and other than and apart from this, one more suggestion is, um, what is this picking and selection? What is this picking and selection mode? See, uh, the one difficulty in implementing this picking is you cannot go backwards from the position of the mouse to the primitives. So for that, the OpenGL will provide the selection mode to do the picking, where you are using the render mode to choose the selection mode by passing the G select value. So when you enter this selection mode and you're rendering a scene, so every time the primitive is within the clipping volume, so it will generate a message called hit. It will generate a message called hit. So that hit will be stored in a buffer called name stack. So see that we have how this picking and selection mode is being used means we know that there is a difficulty in implementing the picking, as we cannot go backwards from the position of the mouse to the primitives. That is, from we can get the ID of a object, but you cannot get the location. So for this, the OpenGL will provide the selection mode for doing for performing this picking operation. So we have a GL render mode function which is used to select the mode by passing the constant called GL underscore select value. So when you enter inside the selection mode and you render a scene, each primitive within the clipping volume, so each object that are there within the clipping volume will generate a message called hit message, which will be stored in a buffer called name stack. So so we have some support from the functions also. We have functions like we have some functions like we have functions like GL select buffer. We have functions like GL select buffer. So what this buffer will give means it will specify a array buffer. It will specify an array buffer of size n in which you have to place the selection data. So this will give an array of buffer size n for placing the selection data, and we have GL init names which will initialize the name stack. It will initialize the name stack. So we can use GL init names to initialize the name stack, and we have GL push name to GL push name to uh, to insert that is to push the name onto this name stack. So it will push the name onto the name stack. Similarly, we have pop name which will remove the name from the name stack. So push means it will insert the name to this name stack, and this will remove the name from the name stack. So for GL push name, GL pop name can be used to that. And also we have one more function called GL load name. So what this GL load name will do means it will replace the top of the name. It will replace the top of the name with the name that is passed as a parameter. So it will replace load name will replace the name. It will replace the name that is at the top of the stack, name stack, with the name which has been passed as a parameter. So this is how the OpenGL supports picking and selection mode. And also you can set the clipping volume by using by using um, by using GLU pick matrix. So you can use GL pick matrix uh, to set the clipping volume. To set the clipping volume, you can use the GL uh, pick matrix. So which will have parameters like coordinate positions, width, height, and the pointer to the projection matrix. So this function will create a projection matrix for picking the primitives where the restriction where the size will be given by the width into height, and it will be centered at the position x comma y uh, with the viewport which is given by BP. So, so um, this is with respect to this picking and selection mode. So you can go through the codes also. So you can go through the codes where this GL picking and selection mode can be implemented. Um, the next one, so the next one is building this interactive model. So building this interactive model means so uh, so using OpenGL you can develop a programs where you can perform the insertion, manipulation, deletion, and also you can build a program which is quite interactive by using the concept of display, list, and instancing. So For example, you want to design an application which as you want to design an application which has details like tables, chairs, household items. Then these items will act as the basic building block. Then these items will act as the basic building blocks for that application. So each occurrence of this item is known as instancing. So I told that using OpenGL you can develop a program where you can do the insertion, manipulation, deletion, uh, and also you can build a also you can build a program which is quite interactive. So by instancing and display list. So what does this instancing means? For example, if you're building an application which contains chairs, tables, some household items, so these items will act as a building block for that application. So each time a chair is being displayed, each time a table is being displayed, so that particular instance, each occurrence of that item, you will call it as an instance. It's like an object. So whenever you're creating the instance of this whenever the instance of these building blocks are created by the programmer by using this application program, so these instances will be stored in an table called instance table. So we know that each occurrence of these basic items will be referred as instances. So whenever the programmer is creating this instance of this building block by using the application program, these instances will be stored in a table. So that table is known as instance table. So um, usually if you want to delete that item means, so for that item can be represent that location can be specified with 0. So type 0 for specifying the objects which doesn't exist or which is no longer required. And also if the user, so this is one thing is creation, the next one is deletion. So the the 0 will be reserved to indicate that the object doesn't no longer exist. And also if the user wants to um, eliminate some object with the help of menus and mouses, so then in that situation, so the user wishes to delete an object with the help of a menu. In that cases the user can use the mouse for locating the object first. So first the program can search the instance table, um, where it will find the object as specified in the bounding box, and then it can replace that with replace that set with by typing it to 0. So the next time when the display process goes through that instance table, the object will not be displayed, and it looks like that the object has been deleted. So for example, see here, whatever object in the instance table, if we are marking it as 0, that will not be displayed by the um, that object will not be displayed during the display process. So that thing you should remember. So here, um, what see if I want to display something, for that uh, I can search the table till I find that object. Once I find that object inside the table, I'll replace that object with the word by typing it with 0. So next time when the display process will go through the table, so that object will not be displayed because I marked it with 0. So this is one thing. So um and also uh, and also uh, using OpenGL also you can design um, interactive programs where the objects will be in moving condition, where the objects will be in moving condition, or it will be keep on changing the position. So this is also known as an interactive program. So if the object keep on changes the if the object keeps on moving from one places to another places, so that is termed as the interactive uh, program. So what is this buffering? So double buffering will be used for this animation programs where the program where the objects will be, changing its position continuously. Like for example, the attributes, the primitives, and all the viewing conditions will be changing. So in such cases we need to use double buffer. One is the front buffer and the other one is the back buffer. So um, that double buffering mode is supported in OpenGL through the help of glut init display mode, and you can pass the parameter as glut underscore double. So and also when in the display function you can include glut swap buffer to change the contents of this front buffer and back buffer. So like this. So in the animation application you need to use double buffering because all the attributes, parameters, viewing conditions, primitives will be keep on changing. So for that you can use two buffers, one as the front buffer and the other one as the back buffer. So for this implementing the double buffer you can use glut init display mode, where the parameter for this will be glut underscore double, glut underscore double. So you can use glut underscore double for displaying this, for getting the double buffer. And also you can use the glut swap buffer to change the content of front buffer and back buffer. So this is one thing. And the next one is timer. So what is this timer means? um, See, for example, so to understand how this timer works, so for example, we have a cube rotation program, and that rotation will be done by the graphical processor unit. So this graphical processor unit can run millions of this primitives for each second. So what will happen means this cube will be rendered thousands of times per second. So because of that we will see a display which is blurred. So in order to avoid that we will be using this timer function. So the execution of this function starts um, the timer in the event loop, where it will delay for the milliseconds which we are passing. So when the timer has counted down, the timer function will execute the value parameter, and also the value parameter will allow the user to pass the variable values into the timer callback. So like this. So this timer function is given by glut timer function, where it will take the delay parameter. So delay parameter and the timer function integer value. So 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 glut timer function, which is taking the delay as the parameter, and also you're calling the timer function and you're passing the value. So the execution of this timer function will start the timer in the event loop, which will make the delay, which will make the loop for delay by this milliseconds. For this much of delay, if you're passing 500 means 500 milliseconds, it will be delayed. And also when the timer has counted down, it will execute the timer function, and this value parameter will allow the user to pass the variable into the timer. So this value can be used to pass the variable into the timer. So this is with respect to the usage of timer and all. And um, and one more thing is see all those things, like double buffering and all. So it will be used whenever you're building some animations. Whenever you're building animations, uh, these things will be used. So I think I'll just stop the class now. In the next class, we'll talk about the steps that are there, or in the design of interactive programs, and we can proceed further. I'll just stop the class now.